What happens when a receptionist insults one of the richest and most influential men in the world without even knowing who he is? Would you believe that one sarcastic comment could lead to a life-changing lesson? This is the true story of how an unsuspecting employee humiliated Elon Musk, unaware that the very man she was mocking owned the hotel she worked at. What happens next will shock you, inspire you, and change the way you think about second chances. Stay tuned. Clara prided herself on spotting wealthy guests at a glance. She believed she could judge a person's status by their clothes, accessories, and attitude. To her, appearances were everything. If someone walked in wearing expensive brands or carrying high-end luggage, Clara would put on her most polite and professional smile. But if someone didn't meet her expectations, she had a habit of being curt or even dismissive. She thought it didn't matter, after all. She was the gatekeeper of one of the city's most prestigious hotels. That morning, just as Clara was handling a phone call, the doors to the hotel swung open. A man entered, dressed simply in a plain black t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers. He wasn't carrying any flashy luggage, nor did he wear any designer accessories. He looked like an ordinary man, someone who might be lost or perhaps here to meet a guest. Clara barely glanced at him as he approached the front desk, already assuming he wasn't worth much of her time. The man stepped up to the counter and waited patiently. His calm demeanor didn't demand attention, and yet there was something about his presence that felt different. However, Clara didn't notice. She was too preoccupied with finishing her call and tidying some papers on her desk. After what felt like a long pause, she finally looked up at him with a raised eyebrow. "Yes," she asked flatly. There was no warmth in her voice, just a sense of irritation at being interrupted. The man, still calm and polite, smiled slightly. "I'd like to check in," he said. Clara barely concealed a sigh. "Do you have a reservation?" He nodded. "Yes, it should be under the name Elon Musk." Clara froze for half a second before regaining her composure. The name sounded familiar, but she couldn't immediately place it. She assumed it was just a coincidence. There was no way the Elon Musk would be standing in front of her, wearing such plain clothes. She quickly searched the reservation system. Sure enough, there was a booking under the name Elon Musk for one of the hotel's largest and most exclusive suites. Her eyebrows knitted together. She looked back at the man, suspicion written all over her face. "This reservation is for one of our most expensive suites," she said slowly. "Are you sure you didn't make a mistake?" The man's smile didn't waver. "I'm sure," he said simply. Clara narrowed her eyes. She didn't believe him. Guests who booked these types of suites usually arrived in limousines or luxury cars. They were accompanied by assistants or entourages. And they certainly didn't dress in jeans and sneakers. "I'm going to need to see some ID," she said sharply. "And a credit card for the deposit." The man handed over both without a word. Clara examined the ID closely, half expecting it to be fake. But it wasn't. Everything checked out. The name, the photo, the details, they were all legitimate. Still, Clara couldn't shake her doubts. Something about this didn't add up. Why would someone who could afford one of the city's most expensive hotel suites show up looking like this? And more importantly, why did he seem so calm and unconcerned by her attitude? Most guests would be frustrated by now. As she processed the check-in, Clara couldn't resist one last dig. "You know," she said with a sarcastic smile, "people usually dress a little nicer when they stay in our premium suites." The man gave her a thoughtful look, but didn't respond. He simply collected his key card, thanked her politely, and walked toward the elevators. Clara watched him go, shaking her head. "Some people just don't belong in places like this," she muttered under her breath. Little did she know that her assumptions were about to backfire in a way she could never have imagined. This was no ordinary man. And soon, everyone at the hotel, including Clara, would learn the truth. As soon as the man, Elon Musk, disappeared into the elevator, Clara wasted no time sharing her thoughts with her coworkers. She leaned over to Sandra, another receptionist who had just clocked in. "You won't believe who just checked in," Clara said, rolling her eyes. Sandra glanced up from her computer. "Who?" "Some guy claiming to be Elon Musk," Clara scoffed. "Can you imagine? He's dressed like he just came from a gym or a garage. No entourage, no fancy luggage. And he booked one of our most expensive suites." Sandra raised an eyebrow. "Elon Musk? Like the Elon Musk?" "Exactly," Clara said with a laugh. "But there's no way it's him. Probably some random guy with the same name, thinking he can live the high life for a night before we catch him." The staff at the hotel loved to gossip, and Clara's story spread quickly. Within minutes, the front desk staff, bellhops, and even some housekeeping staff were talking about the man who claimed to be Elon Musk. Many of them sneaked glances at the elevator, curious to catch a glimpse of him. "I bet he'll cause trouble," one bellhop said to another. "People like that always do." "He's probably here for attention," a housekeeper added. "Or maybe he's hoping to get a free stay by pretending to be rich." The rumors and assumptions snowballed. Clara felt justified in her initial judgment. Everyone seemed to agree with her. No one suspected for a second that the man could actually be who he said he was. After all, why would a billionaire show up at a hotel without making a grand entrance? As the day went on, the staff kept an eye out for Elon Musk. They expected him to make strange demands, complain about the room, or try to weasel his way into getting free services. But to their surprise, nothing happened. The man stayed in his suite, quiet and unassuming. There were no complaints, no extravagant requests, and no signs of the attention-seeking behavior they had expected. This only made Clara more suspicious. "He's probably waiting until we let our guard down," she muttered to Sandra. "Then he'll pull some kind of stunt." Sandra shrugged. "Or maybe he's just a regular guy who booked a nice room." Clara wasn't convinced. She prided herself on her ability to read people, and something about this guest didn't sit right with her. She decided she would keep an eye on him. If he made one wrong move, she would be ready. But what Clara didn't realize was that she wasn't the only one watching. The real Elon Musk was known for being private, but he also had a sharp eye for detail. He had noticed Clara's attitude from the moment he walked into the hotel. And while he didn't say anything at the time, he had taken mental notes of everything: her tone, her assumptions, and the way she had judged him based on his appearance. Elon Musk wasn't one to make a scene, but he believed in teaching lessons when the time was right. And soon, Clara and the rest of the staff would learn a lesson they would never forget. That evening, Elon Musk requested a private dinner to be brought up to his suite. The order was simple: grilled salmon, a side of vegetables, and a glass of sparkling water. The staff, still buzzing with curiosity, wondered if this was the moment he would reveal his true colors. Clara volunteered to oversee the delivery personally. She wanted to make sure everything was perfect, partly out of professional pride, but mostly because she was determined to catch him in the act of doing something suspicious. She instructed the kitchen staff to prepare the food exactly to order, and checked every detail before the meal was sent upstairs. When the meal was ready, Clara accompanied the waiter to Elon's suite. As they reached the door, Clara couldn't resist knocking herself. The door opened, and Elon Musk greeted them with the same calm demeanor as before. He thanked them politely and took the tray without complaint. There was no drama, no outrageous demands, just a simple thank you and a smile. Clara was both confused and frustrated. She had expected something dramatic, a tantrum about the food not being perfect or an attempt to avoid paying for the meal. Instead, Elon Musk behaved like a perfectly normal guest. "Maybe he's just playing a long game," Clara muttered as she walked back to the lobby. But deep down, doubt was starting to creep in. Could she have been wrong? Was it possible that this man really was who he claimed to be? Back in his suite, Elon Musk sat down to enjoy his dinner. He was fully aware of the staff's gossip and assumptions, but he didn't mind. In fact, he found the situation mildly amusing. He knew that most people judge others based on appearances. It was a common mistake. But he also believed in surprising people when they least expected it. And soon, the hotel staff would experience just how surprising life could be. The next morning, the Grand View Hotel was abuzz with activity. The general manager, Mr. Thompson, had gathered the entire staff in the lobby for an important announcement. It wasn't unusual for him to address the team, but something about the way he spoke to everyone today seemed more serious than usual. "Good morning, everyone," Mr. Thompson began, his voice calm but firm. "I have some exciting news to share. Our hotel has just been purchased by a new owner." A murmur spread through the crowd. A new owner? The Grand View Hotel had been owned by the same family for decades. Everyone was curious and nervous, especially Clara. She was already on edge from her encounter with the mysterious man claiming to be Elon Musk. "I'm pleased to announce that the new owner is none other than Mr. Elon Musk," Mr. Thompson continued. "He's staying in the hotel right now and will be conducting a formal tour of the property later today." The room fell silent. Every single staff member froze, their eyes wide with shock. Clara's heart began to race. She replayed the events of the past day in her mind, the dismissive tone, the snarky comments, and the assumptions she had made. Her face flushed with embarrassment. "Did he just say Elon Musk?" Sandra whispered, nudging Clara. Clara didn't respond. Her mind was spinning. It can't be the same Elon Musk, can it? But deep down, she knew the answer. The staff stood in stunned silence as Mr. Thompson continued. Mr. Musk is known for his innovative ideas and forward-thinking approach to business. We're honored to have him as our new owner, and I expect everyone to be on their best behavior. He will be observing how we operate, so let's make sure we leave a positive impression. Clara felt like the floor had disappeared beneath her. She had spent the entire day gossiping about and judging one of the world's most famous billionaires. And now, not only was he a guest, he was the owner of the hotel. The meeting ended, and the staff dispersed. Clara remained frozen in place, her mind racing with anxiety. "What do I do?" she whispered to Sandra, who was still standing beside her. Sandra gave her a sympathetic look. "You could start by apologizing," she suggested. Before he fires you." Clara's heart sank even further. Would Elon Musk really fire her? After how she had treated him, she wouldn't blame him if he did. But she couldn't avoid him forever. She had to face him one way or another. Later that afternoon, Clara stood behind the front desk, nervously fidgeting with a stack of papers. Every time the elevator doors opened, her stomach flipped, fearing it would be Elon Musk. She rehearsed apologies in her head, but none of them felt right. Finally, the moment she dreaded arrived. The elevator doors opened and Elon Musk stepped out. He walked toward the front desk with the same calm demeanor he had displayed before. But this time, his eyes locked onto Clara's. There was no anger or frustration in his expression, just quiet observation. Clara swallowed hard. Her palms were sweaty, and her heart felt like it would beat out of her chest. She took a deep breath and forced herself to speak. "Mr. Musk," she began, her voice shaky. I owe you an apology." Elon raised an eyebrow, but didn't interrupt. "I judged you," Clara admitted. "I assumed things about you because of how you looked. I wasn't polite, and I didn't treat you the way I should have. I'm really sorry." There was a long pause. The silence felt suffocating. Clara braced herself for the worst, for a harsh reprimand, a lecture, or even a termination notice. But Elon Musk simply smiled. "Apology accepted," he said. Clara blinked, stunned by his response. "I'm used to being judged," Elon continued. "It happens more often than you'd think. But what's important is that you've acknowledged it and apologized." Clara felt a wave of relief wash over her. She couldn't believe how gracious he was being. Elon leaned in slightly. "I believe in giving people second chances," he added. "But I also believe in learning from our mistakes." Clara nodded eagerly. "I understand. Thank you for giving me another chance." Elon gave her a small nod, then turned to leave. Clara watched him walk away, feeling a mixture of relief and determination. She had been given a rare second chance, and she wasn't going to waste it. In the days that followed, the atmosphere at the hotel shifted. Word had spread quickly about Elon Musk's identity and ownership, and the staff worked harder than ever to impress him. But for Clara, it wasn't just about impressing the new owner, it was about becoming a better person and employee. Clara made a conscious effort to change her behavior. She greeted every guest with a genuine smile, no matter how they looked or what she assumed about them. She listened more and judged less. Her sharp tongue softened and her patience grew. Elon Musk, true to his word, observed everything quietly. He didn't make any grand speeches or sudden changes. Instead, he watched how the staff treated each other and the guests. One afternoon, as Clara was assisting a guest with a complicated request, Elon happened to pass by. He paused, watching from a distance. Clara handled the situation with grace and professionalism, something Elon hadn't seen from her on that first day. When the guests left, Elon approached the front desk. "You've improved a lot," he said, offering her a rare smile. Clara felt a sense of pride. "Thank you. I'm trying my best." Elon nodded. "Keep it up." Weeks later, the Grand View Hotel was thriving under its new ownership. Elon Musk's presence had brought a renewed sense of energy and purpose to the staff. But perhaps the biggest transformation had been Clara's. Clara no longer judged guests by their appearance. She had learned a valuable lesson about humility, kindness, and the dangers of making assumptions. One day, as she stood behind the front desk, a guest entered the lobby wearing simple clothes and no luggage. Clara greeted him with a warm smile. "Welcome to the Grand View Hotel," she said. "How can I help you today?" And this time, there was no judgment, only genuine kindness and respect. The guest smiled back, clearly appreciating the warmth in Clara's greeting. "I'd like to check in, please," he said simply. Clara efficiently handled the check-in process, making sure every detail was perfect. She didn't care if he looked wealthy or not. What mattered was that he was treated with respect. As the man took his key and headed toward the elevators, Clara felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She had truly changed. A few moments later, Elon Musk walked into the lobby. He had just finished a meeting with Mr. Thompson, discussing future plans for the hotel. Clara immediately noticed him and gave a polite nod. She was still slightly nervous whenever she saw him, but today, Elon looked particularly pleased. "Good afternoon, Clara," he greeted her warmly. "How's everything going today?" "Very well, Mr. Musk," she replied with a smile. "We're keeping busy." Elon glanced around the bustling lobby. "I've noticed. And I've also noticed something else. You've become one of the best employees here." Clara's eyes widened. "Thank you, sir, that means a lot." Elon gave a small nod. "I've seen how you've handled guests recently. Your attitude has changed for the better. That's not always easy to do." Clara felt a lump form in her throat. She had worked hard to improve, but hearing those words from Elon Musk himself felt like a reward in itself. "I've learned a lot since you arrived," she admitted. "Thank you for giving me the chance to do better." Elon's gaze softened. "Everyone deserves a second chance, and you proved you deserved yours." As Elon turned to leave, he paused and added, "By the way, we're holding a staff recognition event next week. I'd like you to attend as one of the honorees." Clara's heart swelled with pride. "I'll be there. Thank you so much." The moment Elon walked away, Sandra came up to Clara, grinning from ear to ear. "Did you hear that? Honoree, you're moving up in the world, Clara." Clara laughed, a genuine happiness filling her heart. "I guess hard work does pay off after all." Clara's journey of personal growth continued long after the staff recognition event. At the ceremony, Mr. Thompson gave a speech highlighting how the Grandview Hotel had undergone a cultural transformation under Elon Musk's ownership. He made special mention of Clara's progress. "This hotel has always prided itself on its customer service," Mr. Thompson began. "But it takes true humility and self-awareness to grow, change, and become better. Clara has shown us that it's never too late to learn from our mistakes and treat others with respect and empathy." Clara was called to the front of a room, where Elon Musk presented her with a special recognition award. The applause from her colleagues was loud and genuine. For the first time, Clara felt truly valued, not just as an employee but as a person who had worked hard to grow. After the ceremony, Elon Musk approached Clara once again. "Clara, you've proven that change is possible when there's a willingness to learn. That's something I admire." Clara smiled. "Thank you, Mr. Musk. I owe a lot to your kindness and patience." Elon chuckled. "Kindness is important, yes. But your growth is a result of your own hard work. Never forget that." The recognition event marked a turning point for Clara's career. Inspired by her own transformation, she began mentoring new employees, helping them understand the importance of empathy and professionalism in their roles. She shared her own story with them, reminding them that it was okay to make mistakes as long as they were willing to learn from them. One day, about 6 months after Elon Musk had purchased the hotel, Clara was given an opportunity she never expected. Mr. Thompson called her into his office to discuss a new position. "We're creating a new role," Mr. Thompson explained. "Guest Relations Manager. It's all about ensuring that our guests feel welcome and valued from the moment they arrive. Given how much you've grown and how well you're now treating our guests, I believe you'd be perfect for the job." Clara's eyes widened. "Me? A manager?" Mr. Thompson nodded. "Yes, you've earned it." The offer took Clara by surprise, but she didn't hesitate to accept it. She was excited and a little nervous, but she knew she was ready. In her new role, Clara thrived. She worked closely with the entire staff to improve the hotel's customer service policies. She implemented training programs that focused on empathy, communication, and treating every guest with respect, regardless of how they looked or what they claimed. The hotel's reputation continued to soar, and soon, it became one of the top-rated establishments in the city. Elon Musk remained involved in the hotel's operations, visiting periodically to check on its progress. Each time he visited, he noticed the continued improvements and was especially impressed by Clara's leadership. "You've built something special here," he told her during one of his visits. "And it's because of people like you who are willing to grow and inspire others." Clara felt a sense of pride. Her journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth it. She was no longer just an employee. She was a leader who had earned the respect of both her colleagues and the hotel's new owner. As time went on, Clara made it her mission to pass on the lessons she had learned. She organized regular workshops for the staff, focusing on the idea that everyone deserves a second chance and that first impressions don't always tell the whole story. She also began coaching her colleagues on how to respond to difficult situations with patience and grace. Many staff members came to her for advice, not just about work, but about life. Clara became a trusted mentor, known for her wisdom and empathy. One day, a new receptionist named Jacob confided in Clara. "I made a mistake with a guest today," he admitted. "I was too quick to judge. I think I upset them." Clara listened patiently, then smiled. "I know exactly how that feels," she said. "But the good news is you can fix it. Go apologize. Be genuine. And next time, give people the benefit of the doubt." Jacob nodded, grateful for the advice. "Thanks, Clara. I'll do that." Clara watched him walk away, feeling a sense of fulfillment. She had come full circle. What she had once struggled with was now something she could help others overcome. 1 year after Elon Musk had taken over the hotel, he returned for a special celebration. The Grand View Hotel had earned a prestigious award for customer service excellence, and the entire staff was being honored. During the celebration, Elon made a short speech. "Success isn't just about innovation or profits," he said. "It's about people. It's about how we treat each other and the lessons we're willing to learn. And this hotel has become a shining example of those values." He then turned to Clara. "Clara, your story is a testament to what's possible when we embrace growth and humility. You've not only transformed yourself, you've transformed this entire team." Clara felt a wave of gratitude and pride. She knew that none of this would have been possible without the lessons she had learned and the second chance she had been given. As the celebration continued, Clara reflected on her journey. She had come a long way from the judgmental receptionist she once was. Now, she was a leader, a mentor, and a symbol of what could happen when people chose to grow. Her story became part of the hotel's legacy, a legacy of respect, second chances, and the belief that true success came from how you treated others. And for Clara, that was the greatest reward of all.